Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's Damon. I hope everything's going well in your hand. Today, I will respond to Jason Solomon's video about his best face turn of all time, as well as Chris Lidicky's response, which is also a response to Jason Solomon's Solomonster's best face turn of all time. So, and for my personal enjoyment, perhaps for yours as well, I'll talk about my worst face turn of all time. So, let's start the links for Solo Monsters video and Chris Lodiki's videos are down in the description down below. So here we go. Let's start it off. Let's not waste time. Number 16. It'll be top 16 today. Why 16? I just want to try out basically maybe reducing the amount of spots in that list. Maybe it will reduce the amount of time and basically might not be too much time for you to enjoy the video and also for you not to be lazy about it. So yeah, here you go. Number 16. Kane. Kane's face turn at WrestleMania 15. Everybody's talking about WrestleMania 15 about Triple H heel turn on the Generation X when he helped Shane McMahon retain the European title over X-Pac at WrestleMania 15. I mean, it was into during the night, basically, even in the months beforehand, China turned on the corporation. Kane was forced into the corporation. He didn't want to be in the corporation. There was like a bit budding romance between Kane and China during that time, and Triple H was feuding with Kane because he saw him as the protector for China, who turned heel on DX. So, but leading on to WrestleMania 15, Kane accidentally threw a fireball at China, and she was out of action. She returned at WrestleMania, and inadvertently cost Triple H the match. Surprising for a heel turn to happen. Yes, he lost by DQ, but Kane won. Kane won at WrestleMania 15. And after the match, China hit Kane several times with a chair, and Triple H ended the assault with a pedigree on the steel chair. And seemingly turned face. And after Billy Gunn lost the Hardcore title, Road Dogg retained the IC title, Triple H lost his match by DQ. You thought DX was back. But all the evening, basically, they were just saying that Triple H and China were back. And in truth, they were back. And he talked the whole match. X-Pac versus Shane was a pretty good underrated match at WrestleMania and one of the only two ones on that card that actually were memorable on WrestleMania 15 with the Austin The Rock, their first outing. Triple H came in basically when X-Pac had Shane beat and pedigreed X-Pac and let Shane McMahon win the title, uh, keep the European title. So after the match, the corporation get the numbers game with the Mean Street Posse to attack X-Pac, and Road Dogg comes in the ring. Billy Gunn comes in, slides in one of the most awesome, majestic way ever, and nearly slides out the ring because he has so much baby oil on. And even then, the corporation still has a number of games because there's Test, Mean Street Posse, Shane, China, X-Pac, until K Music comes in, clears house. This is when he becomes a face. Officially, I would say basically a clear-cut face for the first time. Yes, he was a face from late November to December, but it was more because The Undertaker was on the opposite side. This was the first real face turn of Kane, and honestly, I thought was his best face turn there. They even created the Kane X-Pac team, which I felt is one of the most underrated team in WWE history, and that says something. There you go. That's number 16. In 15, if I was in the same family in quotation mark, footstep, The Undertaker in 1992. That's also a Solo Monster reference in 1992 because soon after the Royal Rumble 1992, I mean, you had Jake Roberts feuding Macho Man Randy Savage. Undertaker was basically Jake Roberts' number one partner. But he went very far to the point where The Undertaker wasn't pleased with what was happening. The Undertaker was getting more and more cheered, by the way. When he won the WWE title for the first time at Survivor Series 91, Undertaker got cheered. Let's not forget that he got some cheers, and little by little, get a bit more cheers. Where the WWE felt like we need to cheer, we need to turn this guy as a baby face, and turn him as a baby face. They did. During this, we had an awesome but short-lived Savage versus Jake Roberts feud. Savage won at Tuesday in Texas the first time around in around 5 minutes. The match wasn't great, but the angle was awesome. Jake Roberts put his hand on Miss Elizabeth. A gross, disgusting act. To basically he kept his heat as a heel, and this is where it starts for the Undertaker basically being grossed out by Jake Roberts. Then came the Royal Rumble. Roberts tried to hide from Randy Savage. Randy Savage threw him out the ring. Undertaker throwing out Jimmy Snuka before getting eliminated by Hulk Hogan, but landing on his feet. So Undertaker and Roberts didn't get time to work together in the 1992 Royal Rumble. Soon after, there's a rematch with Savage Roberts at Saturday Night Main Event. Again, Savage wins, but Jake Roberts goes to the back, intent on hitting any of the two with a steel chair. But when he goes to swing it, The Undertaker blocks it because it would have hit Miss Elizabeth. And then you had, in my opinion, the best moment of funeral parlor ever, in which case The Undertaker is confronted by Jake Roberts. Jake shows no fear at first to The Undertaker when he turns around and he's there out of nowhere. He does basically a Batman. And he questions him that whose side are you on? And The Undertaker says, not yours. Soon after this, Jake Roberts assaults Paul Bearer, who not that long ago was a hated manager, to booze. And then he tries to assault The Undertaker. He basically puts The Undertaker's hands and slams across the casket. His hand is stuck to the casket, but The Undertaker still is up. Jake hits The Undertaker's back many, 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 many times with a steel chair, and he still remains on his feet. He's At one point, he even goes down. The Undertaker goes down, but gets up and carries along the casket, scaring off Jake Roberts. And that's the thing, scaring off Jake Roberts. Go watch that face turn. It's like Undertaker did not become like a cheesy baby face like this. He stayed who he was, but he changed his target, which I think is a great way to turn face. That's number 15. Number 14, Edge at the Royal Rumble 2010. Edge was gone and was being a heel for like the better part of 5 years. And all it took was him getting injured on a fluke. I think it was like basically a jumping jack, basically. And that hurt is basically, I don't know which part of it was ankle or if it was his knee. But after this, Chris Jericho, rather than basically ask his partner to get better, no, he basically abandoned his partner, criticized him, insulted him, called him weak, took the Big Show's partner to become Jericho, and insulted Edge at every opportunity he could, so that in the Royal Rumble, at number 29, who comes in but the returning Edge? And the first thing he does is goes in the ring and targets Jericho and eliminates him in short order before winning the Royal Rumble. The pop he got was huge. And honestly, that baby face turn might have been ranked higher if Edge actually won the world title at WrestleMania 26, as he should have had, in my opinion, because it came off from a long streak of Royal Rumble winners not winning at WrestleMania. Think about it. Since 2008, Cena won the Rumble, lost at WrestleMania. Orton won the 2009 Royal Rumble, lost at Mania against Triple H. 2010, Edge wins the Rumble, loses at Mania. 2011, Alberto wins, lose at WrestleMania against Edge, ironically. But still, you get the point. I don't think it should happen. Doesn't mean that the Royal Rumble winner should win every year, but at least every 2 years, yeah, I do believe they should win. I mean, there shouldn't be a pause of 3 years when the Rumble winner doesn't win. It looks ridiculous and makes me wonder why even bother doing a Royal Rumble in that case. But still, that's number 14. Number 13, The Shield before WrestleMania 30. Like people forget that basically Shield were initially heel. That they do not forget, but they forget that they turned face before WrestleMania. Yeah, at first the inkling of a face turn was basically when Shield were facing John Cena, Sheamus, and Daniel Bryan on Raw, in which case whoever wins three spot for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. The Shield won by DQ, just as Roman Reigns was about to break out of the STFU. They won by DQ when the White interferes and assaulted John Cena, Daniel Bryan, and Sheamus. So giving the wins to babyface. So basically Shield and Wyatt had a great feud, which I felt could have been a WrestleMania match. You could have put Kane if you didn't want to put Bray Wyatt, and I think Kane and Luke Harper and Eric Rowan against the Shield, but it didn't happen. That a fantastic match at Elimination Chamber that year, which the Whites won by pinning Roman Reigns, who at that point was not getting pinned often. And to be honest, neither is today, but in that case, Roman Reigns was always the protected one of the Shield back then. So what happened? Soon afterwards, they had a rematch, in which case Seth Rollins bailed out. Again, foreshadowing of his possible heel turn. And several weeks afterwards, that interview basically tried to get on the same page. And the Authority instructed the Shield to assault, or precisely, Kane instructed the Shield to assault Jerry Lawler, and they decided not to do it. They teased they were going to do it, but they said to Jerry Lawler to leave the ring, and they attacked Kane of the Authority, which cemented their face turn. Then they faced Kane and New Age Outlaws at WrestleMania in that glorious 2-minute squash match. And they also beat and shut down Evolution before Seth Rollins turned heel. But the face turn was very great, and I think helped short term to establish Roman Reigns the face and Dean Ambrose. And if they stayed the same way as they were in the Shield, I think it would have been more powerful. But the moment they lost Seth Rollins as a teammate, I felt like the Shield became goofier, and that didn't help for them. But anyway, that was a great moment. 12, Virgil at the Royal Rumble 991. People can laugh about it. I mean, Virgil was being berated even more than usual by Ted DiBiase leading up to their match with the Rhodes at Royal Rumble 1991. You think, okay, Virgil's just going to take it. He's not going to do anything. Roddy Piper's pleading for Virgil to come to his senses. He's not doing it. Then they have their match. Virgil is doing what Virgil does, which is try to assist Ted DiBiase. He tries to do the best he can. But at one point, Ted DiBiase holds down Dustin Rhodes, trying for Virgil to hit him. But Dustin ducks. DiBiase gets the punch. So accidentally, Virgil hits Ted DiBiase. Despite all the mental abuse or verbal abuse he got by Ted DiBiase, he still tries to recover and say, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And basically tries to help him. And this is when Ted DiBiase hits Virgil physically, puts his hand on him, and throws him out the ring. Dustin Rhodes tags in his dad, and Ted DiBiase wastes no time and roll him up for 1, 2, 3. But after the match, rather than celebrating the win, he takes his opportunity to verbally lambast Virgil, to insult him, and wanted Virgil to put the $1 million title around his waist. And Virgil is so mad at being insulted, at being berated, and at being attacked by his so-called employer that he drops the title on the ground. People are cheering. They're fearing it's just going to be dissension. Then Ted DiBiase seems to be holding basically a card over his head, basically hinting that he's paying his mother, Virgil's mother in storylines, medical bills. And you think in this case, okay, Virgil is gonna feel obligated, have an obligation toward Teddy DiBiase, but the moment he drops to his knees and Teddy DiBiase starts to laugh and turns around, Virgil looks at the crowd. He summons the courage because of the crowd and summons the courage that he, to the crowd and then nails Teddy DiBiase with the $1 million title to a huge pop. Like you could have created a huge baby face with that moment. And honestly, WWE made him a baby face and let him be a big baby face for what, 5 months? And the moment he lost back the $1 million title that he won at SummerSlam 91, he became just ordinary after this. This is a face turn that you don't give to somebody you're just going to turn back into basically putting back in the lower card. But the moment was great, and even what led up for the next 5, 6 months was awesome. So that's number 12. Number 11, Demolition 1998 and 1988. Sorry. Demolition, I think I mentioned in another video, Demolition as eels were awesome initially. Great team song, great look, great finisher. I still love their double team when they would just tag each other just to hit a person over and over again. I think that's a great tag team move that's not being used right now. Everybody's focused on spots. I thought that one spots and basically having contrived tag team maneuvers or combos about kicks, rolling somebody, and basically giving another move that doesn't seem devastating. Demolition just pound on the guy, just giving stumps, hammer shots, and I thought that's awesome. Why can't we have more Demolition or LOD tag teams? Anyway, but they were when they won the World Tag Titles at WrestleMania 4 over Strike Force, there was a noticeable pop when it happened. Demolition was supposed to be the LOD of WWE, which I never saw back then, and honestly, I felt like their rivals, their immediate rivals for Demolition, were more in tune with the LOD. Why? Because it was the Powers of Pain, the Warlord, who, as a Labs fan would say, who is the patron saint of the Labs fan, and the Barbarian. They debuted at WWE in around SummerSlam 1988, defeating the Bolsheviks, and they were getting pops, but they weren't. I wouldn't say they had huge pops, just add some pops. And at Survivor Series 1988, Mr. Fuji, Demolition manager, tripped Demolition in that match, and that led up to Demolition getting counted out and eliminated from that match. And Demolition returned, body slam Mr. Fuji, and turned face. However, after they were leaving the ringside area, Powers of Pain helped Mr. Fuji up to their feet. And I'm thinking at first, is that a face turn for Mr. Fuji? No, because he used a cane to destroy the supposedly indestructible for that night only Los Conquistador. And Powers of Pains win the 10 tag team elimination match at SummerSlam 1988 due to Mr. Fuji's help. Demolition comes out to clear house and become face. It's a double turn in wrestling. It's not the most famous double turn you'll see later, but it's one that should be addressed more often because Demolition were very big faces after this. And one of my top 3 tag teams of all time. Of all time. You can't tell me about move sets. And not talk about charisma, about basically having some aura of basic toughness. Of this person will do exactly what they say they're gonna do. That's what Demolition represented, and they were, like it or not, the longest reigning World Tag Team Champions in history. New Day's Usos are the longest reigning SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions of history. New Day, the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions in history, whereas Demolishers are the originals, longest reigning World Tag Team Champions in history. So the traditional World Tag Team Championship of WWF is still, that record is still intact with Demolition. So just a reminder for this at number 11. Number 10, the Big Boss Man around WrestleMania 6. Big Boss Man was the eel with Slick in an awesome tag team with Akeem. And the Big Boss Man, I felt like at first I've noticed progressively as I watched some videos, it's like he got in better shape as the years goes on from 1988 to 1992. He got in better shape every time. He got in better shape, became a better wrestler, felt more agile, was and yeah, he was basically whereas Akeem was the comedy relief, he was basically the serious the serious ills of the two was the one who inflicts the most punishment. Before Ted DiBiase, again, Ted DiBiase was such a great eel. He's related to a lot of great face turns. Ted DiBiase was feuding with Jake Roberts, injured his neck in storyline. But basically, before WrestleMania 6, Jake Roberts stole the $1 million title and put him in a bag with Damien and tried to basically pled with Big Boss Man to go get his belt back. Big Boss Man saw this as a crime, so he went against Jake Roberts and handcuffed Jake Roberts to the ropes and took the bag and delivered Ted DiBiase, thinking it's a good deed. But what he didn't know was because it was a bribe. It was a bribe. He bribed Slick into basically getting his own police officer. In that case, since he saw it as a bribe, Big Boss Man was beyond insulted. He felt like his honor was in question. He said many things that he is in the past, but he's not a thief, and he sides with law and order and justice. So at first you think maybe he's doing this because he doesn't want to, basically he's scared of the snake. No, Big Boss Man took his bare hand, plunged deep into the bag, retrieved the $1 million title with no fear, despite the fact there's a snake in there, and just showed it off, floundered to Ted DiBiase and put the title back there, back in the bag. Base gave the keys to handcuff to Jake Roberts and gave him the $1 million title back. And as soon as he went back to the ringside area, no, sorry, when as soon as he left the ringside area, he shoved Slick. So he finally his face turn. That was a great baby face turn in that case. So that's number that's number 10. Now we'll go number 9. This is something that Chris Ludicki talked about, The Rock in 1999. 1998 is an honorable mention because after he lost the Intercontinental title in a great match with Triple H at SummerSlam 1998, for a while I felt he was a bit face-ish. I mean, during that Raw where Undertaker and Kane interrupt just about everything, he stood in front of D'Lo to protect him. Uncharacteristic to The Rock of the past year, who was just the cowardly leader of the nation. No, in this case, he was trying to protect D'Lo Brown and got assaulted for that. So that led up to Rock basically joining force reluctantly with Mankind and Ken Shamrock against Undertaker and Kane, which would lead up to a great #1 contendership match at Breakdown that year. But he turned face there, only to turn back heel, so I can't really put this on that list. However, I'll put The Rock 1999. I'll agree with Chris Ludicki on this case. It's not my top 10. Uh, it's not in my top 5, sorry, but it's not my top 10. Rock turning face there because he lost at Backlash 1999, just like he lost the title at WrestleMania 15 to Stone Cold Steve Austin. But what he didn't appreciate in that match was he felt like the whole McMahon saga was overshadowing his need to win the title back. So the McMahon saga basically took away from the focus of he should have had to win the title. So, and that led to Shane firing up and saying maybe you shouldn't have tried to be on the people's camera and the people's headset. So both of them reacted badly to one another until I do remember the first person was who tried to attack him from behind. Who it was his good old rival Triple H, who also both of them for a short time went both in the corporation together, and he turned it back. Then afterwards, China tried to attack him, and he fired back to against China. So, and it's the big boss man who took the nightstick and attacked him from behind to cause him to be downed after this. So I do remember Test also started his face turn at around the same time. He just walked off. He didn't join in the beat down at that time. So in a way, it's two face turn for one in that case. It was Rock and Test. Test was becoming increasingly disgusted with the new corporation not led by Vince McMahon, and Rock didn't see the point of staying around longer. So it was a great face turn and led up to Rock's entire face run. So that's a very good moment there. Number 8, Mr. Perfect, leading up to Survivor Series 1992. During that time, WWE was not in a great place because Jim Elwing, otherwise known as the Ultimate Warrior, just I think he failed at a drug test, and it was not or if it wasn't this, it was the steroid trials, and it was not a good look for the WWE. So the Ultimate Warrior, as well as British Bulldog, were let go from the WWE. You might have noticed this because British Bulldog, up until 1 or 2 weeks beforehand, was scheduled to face the Mountie in a match at Survivor Series 1992, and that match was canceled. So Savage was supposed to team with the Ultimate Warrior to face Ric Flair and Razor Ramon. That match couldn't happen. So Randy Savage was searching frantically for a partner. And lo and behold, he ended up finding a partner. Mr. Perfect who had been a heel for his entire time in WWE, was a commentary. And at first, Savage was thinking about which kind of partner he would have, and then he said, read between the lines, I want the perfect tag team partner, which led to Mr. Perfect, Bobby Heenan, and Ric Flair kind of, at first, being flattered but laughing off the offer. And had Ric Flair and Razor Ramon and Bobby Heenan treated Mr. Perfect with respect during old time, maybe it would have just been a moment where they laugh it off. No, they kind of disrespected Mr. Perfect, saying he's just part of the past. He's fragile. He's not what he used to be. And Mr. Perfect's ego and his pride took over. He realized at that moment he cannot just refuse to take this offer seriously. His pride was on the line. Not just his pride, but his accomplishment. Everything he did and he is on the line. Because if not, if he just stays back and refuses to participate, then he's exactly what Ric Flair and Razor Ramon said he was. Good in his heyday, but not good anymore. So it was awesome at first. Little by little, it feels like Mr. Perfect's showing a bit of dissension, but he's still kind of friendly with Bobby Heenan until the end, when they just realize that all they see in Mr. Perfect is Ric Flair's insurance plan for him to keep the title, to win the title and keep the title. That's all they saw him as. Mr. Perfect saw it as, I helped Ric Flair, but I want to have my career, my own ambitions of my own. And basically, he went out on it, on his instinct, fired Bobby Heenan, went on his own, threw a bucket of water over Bobby Heenan, basically said that Ric Flair lives in his shadow, not the other way around, criticized Razor Ramon, and joined Macho Man Randy Savage. Even though they said they didn't like each other, they both respect each other, and they'll gladly be partners. That was an awesome turn, and necessitated by the urgency of the situation. It was like 1 or 2 days before Survivor Series. They spent an entire program just turning face somebody. Imagine doing that today's age. I mean, Imagine if basically you had to turn Gunter back, to turn Gunter face out of nowhere for a Survivor Series that said face set divisions. After, I don't know, trying to find, let's say LA Knight cannot be there. Imagine having to do this and it works. That's why it is placed as high as it is right now as number 8, because the necessity, the urgency of this had to be done. And rather than being a slapdash effort of basically taking a lower card, they took a main event heel and turning back face, and not just for one night, they just kept him established as a face for the next year or so. And it made it work. So that's why it's number 8. Number 7. I'm trying to read it off. Oh yeah. Daniel Bryan. Around 2 weeks before the Royal Rumble 2014. Yes, that Royal Rumble 2014. You're right. But he shouldn't have won. But you know who should have won? Daniel Bryan. I mean, at the end of 2013, he felt disillusioned by his state in the WWE in storyline. He won the WWE title only to be instantly cashed in on by Randy Orton, and who just pinned Daniel Bryan after he got hit by pedigree by Triple H, who was a special guest referee for the Cena Bryan match. Then he won the title back at Night of Champions, fair and square, but Triple H called in question because he said that the cadence of the referee, Scott Armstrong, was too fast. So, of course, he vacates the title and make sure there's a rematch between Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton, which was interrupted at Battleground by the Big Show for no reason. But Hell in a Cell, there'd be definitely a winner because Shawn Michaels is a guest referee. So Daniel Bryan's on his way to win against Randy Orton, but Triple H tries to interfere. Daniel Bryan put his hand on Triple H, and Shawn Michaels, his best friend, get attacked, decides to strike into action and super kicks Daniel Bryan, which led to Randy Orton winning the title back. Daniel Bryan tries to get back against the authority, but the White family interferes and attacks Daniel Bryan. CM Punk helps Daniel Bryan beat Rowan and Harper at Survivor Series 2014, but soon after this at Survivor Series 2013, and at TLC 2013, Daniel Bryan loses an handicap match against the White family. Then he faces them in an handicap match, in a gauntlet match at I think the last Raw of 2013. Basically, he gets beaten down. He wins the gauntlet by DQ, but they keep the White family tells them that they're gonna attack him, continue attacking him until he can't. So Daniel Bryan gives in and joins the Wyatts. For a short while, he's wearing overalls. He's calling himself Daniel Wyatt. And like for 2 weeks, basically, it seems like basically he's acting eelish. So you think maybe, okay, he's not going to be the face that people want. He's going to be the top face. He's going to be the mid card, maybe to do like the Rock and basically build up the bigger face turn. And to a bigger face turn, it did. Because in a cage match with the Usos, and Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt, the Usos win. Bray Wyatt goes to give the Sister Abigail to Daniel Bryan, but Daniel fights out of it and proceeds to kick the ever-loving hell out of Bray Wyatt. He gives him kicks in the corner, he gives him the yes running knee, and proceeds to do the yes sign from the top of the cage. Turning face. Now, yes, he lost at the Royal Rumble 2014, but it happened to be one thing that was great is he happened to actually win twice at WrestleMania, beat Triple H first, and afterwards beat Randy Orton and Batista to win the WWE title. To have that legendary, awesome moment at WrestleMania 30, an awesome closing moment of that show. So he was already as a face, but I feel like the face turn related to being for several times being disillusioned with his place on the card and join the Wyatts. If that didn't happen, it'd be less of a good reaction. The problem is they should have, have him win the Rumble. But apart from that, it was all great. Number six, DDP in 1997. DDP was a case of he seemed like a mid-carder, a perennial mid-card in WCW. I mean, he was WCW TV champion after he beat the Renegade, but it felt like a nothing happening feud. I mean, his best feud up until then in WCW was against Johnny B. Bad, aka Wildman Mark Merrill. That fantastic match, and I still believe they were underrated matches, but that was, at that point, DDP's best work. Then at Slamboree 96, he won the Battle Bowl tournament, which honestly, that's not memorable. They're just who won. But even after winning this, it's like Steve Austin after winning 1996, the 1996 King of the Ring. He didn't become a huge star right away. No. There's some pay-per-views where he faced Axel Jane Duggan. So I think it was Great American Bash, who was facing Marcus Bagwell, who's one half of the American males at this point. Great team. And I mean Team THEME. But he wasn't like an headliner as a pay-per-view. I mean, Fall Brawl 96, he's facing Chavo Guerrero in the opening match because Chavo upset him on a Nitro. He beats him. Then at Halloween Havoc 96, awesome pay-per-view, he beats Eddie Guerrero in a great match. And okay, sky seems to be the limit to some extent for him. He's in the World War III. I think he's in the final 10 or final 20. He loses. Then he's the final of the U.S. title tournament. DDP versus Eddie Guerrero. He seems to be friendly with outsiders. When out of nowhere at Starrcade 1996, Scott Hall delivers the outsider's edge on DDP, leading up to Eddie Guerrero delivering his patent frog splash for the win. And for some weeks, the NWO tried to turn over to basically recruit DDP. At one point, he puts on the NWO t-shirt, and you think DDP finally turns against WCW and joins the NWO. He makes sure that Kevin Nash leaves the ring and Scott Norton as well. And when the NWO doesn't expect it, DDP delivers the diamond cutter and Scott Hall turns face. I mean, and afterwards, DDP targets the NWO. He beats Scott Norton. Not NWO sold out, but he beats on Nitro. He beats Buff Bagwell, and he beats Macho Man Randy Savage at Spring Stampede. That might just be, to me, the best WCW face turn ever. I mean, that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. So that's number six. Number five, Bret Hart at WrestleMania 4. People, and I'm laughing because of what the next entry in the list will be, the next entries, that is. But this one is overlooked because people grew up on Bret, probably don't know how did he turn face in the first place. I mean, he started WWE as a heel, as part of the Art Foundation. WrestleMania 2 is a heel. WrestleMania 3 is a heel as the World Tag Team Champions as a heel. Then at WrestleMania 4, he's in the Battle Royal, 20-man Battle Royal for the coveted WrestleMania 4 trophy. He gets in the Final Four. He eliminates Paul Roma along with Bad News Brown. Then there's Junkyard Dog. And you think Junkyard Dog being the only face, he's probably going to eliminate Bret Hart. No. Junkyard Dog gets beaten up and thrown out by both Bad News Brown and Bret Hart. Both of them then decide, they seem to make a pact like, hey, let's share the purse money, until Bad News Brown hits his finisher, was a crescent kick, and eliminates Bret Hart to win the Battle Royal. And as Bad News Brown celebrates, raises his arm in the air and basically grabs the trophy, Bret Hart comes back in the ring, drop kicks him from behind, and breaks the trophy apart. Why do you think that? To me, there's something to me very ironic. Is both Bret Hart's face turn and heel turn both happen at a WrestleMania. And both happen against against wrestlers who were bald and were wearing black tights. It's kind of like bald wrestlers with black tights are not Bret Hart's favorite. I know basically his favorite wrestlers are basically his most innocuous wrestlers. It kind of feels like Bret Hart has always a gear to grind with wrestlers who are bald and have black tights. So yeah, he turned face at WrestleMania 4, and that led up the road for him to win another World Tag Team titles, this time as a face with Jim Neidhart, winning two IC titles to winning four WWE Championship as a face, and even the US title back 2010. So apart from one other title, the rest of his career was in the WWE was as a face. So that to me is very, very important. So number five. Number four, Roddy Piper in 1986, sorry. Roddy Piper was a detested heel for a long time in WWE. I mean, WrestleMania 1, he was the number one heel at the time. People can forget about that, but it was hated all over the place. And he didn't get pinned in that WrestleMania tag match. Paul Orndorff got pinned. He feuded with Paul Orndorff during that time. He still had bad blood with Mr. T, and they faced off in a horrible, horrible boxing match at WrestleMania 2. But here's the funny part. Piper still got some cheers there. But after WrestleMania 2, Roddy Piper took a break, I think it was for filming one of his movies. Then he came back in his first appearance. They said, "Welcome back, Roddy Piper." He's still a heel at that point, but people cheer him like he's a baby face. So he wins a match against Jobber, and he wins it with, I never thought he'd be winning with a clothesline. I think some stumps, and he pins him with one foot. And I think the next week, he goes basically tries to say, "Hey, thank you, Adrian Adonis, for taking over the talk show spot, but now I'm back, so it's back to mine." Adrian Adonis did not want to give back the flower shop show and turn it back for it to be turned back to Piper's Pit, but Piper basically lost his temper when he saw Cowboy Bob Orton be on Adrian Adonis' side, and Piper just lost his mind. Basically, he didn't want to basically be replaced, and especially not by Adrian Adonis, by adorable Adrian Adonis. So he turned face and basically he was still the unstable Roddy Piper we knew, but as a babyface. And I thought at the time, I thought that PWI's opinion back then was more relevant because at that time was basically people were deeply watching wrestling and actually meant something that Roddy Piper won most popular wrestler of the year in 1986 over Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan won for many years, but that year he couldn't beat Roddy Piper. He was so popular in that year. I remember basically at the end of the year, Hulk Hogan and Piper were inevitably teaming up, but they never became friends. They were never friends in storyline. They were just allies on the same side. I mean, that was awesome. And how Roddy Piper destroyed the flower shop, that cannot be replicated ever. Similarly, WrestleMania 18, Hulk Hogan turning face after losing to The Rock. To me, was awesome. I witnessed it live, so I'm biased there. But I had a feeling that Hulk Hogan was going to Hulk up. I had a feeling he would Hulk up because it's like you don't want to see Hollywood Hulk Hogan wrestle his WCW style match against The Rock. It's not WCW and it's not going to fly. Sure, he wrestled as kind of a heel for a while, but then it turned around because people were mostly cheering on Hogan. So The Rock and Hogan decided to switch roles, and Hogan got wrestled like a babyface. And after he lost the match, he turned face, and I thought that was great. It was great. It was like for at least a while, nostalgia was running wild again, and Hulkamania was running wild again. So I thought it was great. That's for number 4. Now into the top 3. Number 3, Randy Savage at WrestleMania 7. So WrestleMania 7 is marked with basically, yeah, the Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage in a fantastic match, and Randy Savage loses. I mean, and Ultimate Warrior kicked out the 5 top rope elbow from Savage. Savage kicked out the Warrior Gorilla Press Slam Splash, but couldn't kick out 4 or 5 running shoulder blocks on the Warrior. Sherry, Sensational Sherry, seeing that her meal ticket was taken down, attacks Randy Savage, and Miss Elizabeth, who has not been seen on the side of the Macho Man since WrestleMania 5, and even then she was basically neutral, jumps in the ring and saves Randy Savage from Miss Elizabeth. And after having lost a grueling Loser Leaves Town match with Ultimate Warrior, Savage reunites with Miss Elizabeth and becomes a babyface again. And stays a babyface till he leaves the WWE. Like he stays a babyface even in WWE until he joins the NWO. So that's a very important and face turn. It's a very important and very well done. So it's very rare that a wrestler lose a Loser Leaves Town match actually ends up better for it than if he won. So that's for number 3. Number 2, I'll agree also with Chris Ledecky. Batista. To me, the best recent face turn is Batista's. In 2005, when he turned on the Evolution to challenge Triple H for the world title WrestleMania 21. Batista was getting a bit more powerful, a bit more popular. I do remember he was qualifying for the Royal Rumble that year by beating La Resistance in an end-cap match on Raw. He was in the Elimination Chamber in 2005, along with Chris Jericho, Edge, Chris Benoit, Randy Orton, and Triple H for the vacant world title. Edge was eliminated by Chris Jericho, if I remember correctly, but Batista took care of the other two faces. Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit were both eliminated by Batista. Triple H and Batista were trying to destroy Randy Orton, but when Randy Orton got, I think, fell Triple H and went for the cover, Batista came in to save Triple H. But when Randy Orton did the RKO on Batista, Triple H, rather than save Batista, slumped down in the corner and lets Randy Orton win the match. Oh, sorry. He lets Randy Orton pin Batista. So the only 2 people left are Triple H and Randy Orton. And when Randy Orton looks like he's going to be able to win, Batista comes in, interferes on Triple H's behalf, and Triple H wins the world title. Another fact is, I do remember there was a match on Raw between Randy Orton and Batista. Winner goes on to face Triple H at the Royal Rumble, and due to botched interference by Evolution, Randy Orton wins to face Triple H. So already there, the 2 strikes from 2 strikes against Evolution. Batista's Furious enters the Rumble, as I mentioned, and he enters at number 28, which is kind of funny because he won it also. It's the same number he had in 2014. We all know how it happened. And he eliminates Jericho. He eliminates Snitsky. He's into the Final 4 with Cena, Edge, and Rey Mysterio. Edge eliminates Mysterio. Edge is thrown out by both Batista Cena. Batista Cena seems to go over the top rope at the same time. Come in Vince McMahon, and when he slides in the ring, it breaks both of his quads. And Batista soon the Rumble finish is restarted. And Batista throws out Cena to win. Again, he's not officially a face, but he's getting more face reactions. He's still part of Evolution. On basically, Triple H tries to sway Batista to challenge for the WWE title at WrestleMania by having JBL challenge Batista, basically antagonize him. Batista even shows up at No Way Out 2005 to basically stand up against JBL. So you think maybe it's going to be JBL versus Batista until it's revealed on Raw that Triple H paid off JBL to make up for this, to basically because he said that Big Dave, in his opinion, was too dumb to make the right decisions for him. And lo and behold, Batista was listening to that conversation the whole time. So when he basically was a contract signing for WrestleMania there, so he had two contract signings, and he kept saying, "I knew what I was going to do the whole time." And you think he's taking Teddy Long's SmackDown contract, and you think he's going to sign up, and basically Triple H and Ric Flair gives him thumbs up, and so does Batista. Until that turns up becomes a thumbs up, that becomes a thumbs down. Clothesline Ric Flair, power bombs Triple H to the table, signs a Raw contract for WrestleMania 21. And we know what happened. He beat Triple H at WrestleMania 21, and to me, one of the best WrestleManias of all time. Yes, the main event wasn't the greatest match on the card, but it was pretty good. It was good for what it's supposed to be. A power wrestler besting a more technical wrestler, which is what happened. And you think, okay, Triple H is gonna get his win back, brother, like another Triple H. But Backlash, he loses again to Batista, and then he goes to LSL. Definitely Triple H getting his belt back. No, Batista beats Triple H 3 times in a row, and Triple H will not get a win over Batista until WrestleMania 35. It spawned out like Batista can say that he was a bad babyface, but I don't think so. From in 2005, 2006, 2007 was a great babyface to me. It's just when he became stale, like 2008, this is when he could have turned heel. But Batista, with a story, to me was a great babyface turn and a great babyface to boot. And number one babyface turn, what would it be? Would it be the Red Rooster turning face? No. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. Contrary to popular opinion, my favorite Stone Cold is not when he faced off against McMahon. I felt like that Stone Cold was a bit softer. Like he still had that edge, but he felt more content. I love psychotic Austin. The moment he won the King of the Ring, I love the psychotic edge he had when he faced Brian Pillman, Bret Hart. I like this because it felt like the real life frustration of the guy seeping through his wrestling character. I like that. In 1997, he wins the Rumble. He cheated to get there, but he won the Rumble. But yet, he doesn't get the world title match at WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels forfeit the title. I know he's my favorite wrestler, but forfeits the title because he lost his smile and he has to have a Final Four match. Okay, but by technicality, Austin should still have a world title match at WrestleMania no matter what. He's wrestling the Final Four. He should still, no matter what, have a shot at the title at WrestleMania 13, even if he were to lose. And he did lose. He was the first man eliminated. But he didn't get that match. So, at first, Austin is livid. He sees as his enemy, his rival, Bret Hart wins the title and costs him the title next day to Psycho Sid. At first, I thought it was a plot hole, but it's not because he doesn't know, the character doesn't know if he's going to get it to WrestleMania. But the moment he knows that Bret Hart is going to be his opponent at WrestleMania in a submission match, he tries to make sure that Bret Hart, who has a title match against Psycho Sid, he tries to make sure that Bret Hart wins the title back. But Psycho Sid's WrestleMania opponent, Undertaker, cost Bret Hart the match, which makes sure that the animosity and the toxicity between Austin and Bret Hart continues, and it leads to WrestleMania 13, that classic submission match with Ken Shamrock as the referee. That match to me is what any wrestler should study. They should study this. They should also study the Iron Man match because I love the Iron Man match, which is contrary to what Jason Solomon thinks, but Jason is entitled to his opinion. I'm entitled to mine. I love the Iron Man match, but I can see if people don't like it as much. I love it. I like the psychology behind it. That basically the best that if they leave the best moves for the last minutes. But I prefer the WrestleMania 13 match as well. And to me, it's a classic match, and Austin did not tap out. He was bloody. It's in a position where nobody would blame if he tapped out. He didn't. He refused to pass it to tap out. He passed out. And Brett won the match. And until that point, he was still getting booed, but not as much. What got him booed is attacking an unconscious Austin, which led to Shamrock stepping in and waist locking Brett and throw him back, which led to Bret Hart turning heel the next day. But Austin, he turned face, but basically had a promo where he said, "It doesn't matter if you think if I'm a good guy or a bad guy. Basically, if you cheer for me or not, I'm gonna do what I want to do." And what's overlooked is that first he turned heel, turned face. Sometimes would still act like a heel even toward fan and would tell him to shut up, silence, I'm talking. And that was shut down very fast because I think Jim Ross told him you can't act like this and you can't sell a lot of t-shirt if you keep acting like a heel. And 1997, which I like, is that even as a face, he still act heelish. He didn't look always for the approval of the crowd. He said, "Oh hell yeah!" But apart from that, still psychotic, still psychotic, sarcastic, well, sarcastic as well. Still a sadistic, psychotic wrestler, but he turns it to the hated Art Foundation at the time. He turns towards the Nation of Domination. He turns it to anybody who's hated. And eventually stuns McMahon. So that to me are the best face turns of all time. And rapidly, I'll go for the worst ones. Number 10, all the Big Show turns. I mean, he turned at WrestleMania 15 because what? Because rather than basically beat Mick Foley, he gets himself disqualified by trying to destroy Mick Foley. It was a match determined who was going to be the referee for the main event of WrestleMania 15. He fell his job. For the moment he debuted, Big Show, he debuted in the WrestleMania 15 at St. Valentine's Massacre. He accidentally helped Austin win. He fell he fell in many ways, in many of his functions as heels there. He lost his first ever match in WWE against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Talk about a failure in that case. And he was booked as a failure for his first month. He turns face. Like even the McMahon character would be right to dump the Big Show. He failed at everything he was supposed to do. In 2013, when they tried to make him as a sympathetic face after being an heel for so long because the boss asked him to punch Daniel Bryan in the face, like, oh my God, poor you being told to keep your to do a responsibility, a legal responsibility at your job, at your 6 figures to 7 figures jobs a year. Poor you. You're a bigger face than Daniel Bryan. Anyway, that's number 10. Number 9. Sorry. Kevin Nash in 1999. Kevin Nash. I mean, when he turned face for the Wolfpack, that's one thing. It was a good face turn. Wasn't it great? A good one. But 1999 was after Uncensored. I mean, he spent the whole time when he, after figured Poke of Doom, be a complete jerk. I mean, he bullied Rey Mysterio Jr., took off his mask, got pinned on a fluke on Nitro, only to beat him at Uncensored. Then declared that, hey, I'm the only one who beat you, Goldberg. And he faced against Goldberg at Spring Stampede. And he lost. But because he had one conversation with Ric Flair, with a face Ric Flair, and he being a heel, said, hey, I think I should get a world title match. And out of nowhere, just this, no title, no match, no number one contendership. I just think I should have a match. The moment DDP wins the world title at Spring Stampede, Nash is slotted in as the world title contender at Slamboree, and he wins the title. Like DDP didn't get a real world title run. And also, DDP turning heel, I'll put him on the same list. Why would the DDP turn heel after having been a fantastic face for like 2 years? Oh, I don't need the fans anymore. I win the world title. Why? Why? You want to turn back Hogan as a face? Okay, but you don't need to basically turn everybody as a heel. God, I'm just thinking about those two face. I got two heel turns at the price of one, and sorry, Two heel turns for the price of one. And why? Ah, WCW. So both hilarious and sad at the same time. Number eight, related to one Flair, we got another one. Charlotte Flair in 2018. Why did she turn face? Why did she turn face? Oh, poor me. I lost the world title via cash-in. I was cashing on by Carmella. It's my fault. It's everybody's fault. During that time, Becky Lynch is basically working her way up the ladder and basically getting win after win after win, even beating Carmella in a number one contendership match. But then, lo and behold, Charlotte comes back right away. First match back is a number one contendership with Carmella. If she wins, she's added on to the SummerSlam title match, and she wins the title at SummerSlam. Why? What makes her so much of a babyface? The problem with Charlotte Flair's character is she never had to work up the ladder of contention. You say, oh, she won the Rumble. Even this year, she won the Rumble at 27 after basically being absent for like a year and a half. Like she never had to work up back up the ladder. She basically, I won a world titles match. Okay, you get it. Tiffany Stratton kind of exposed the character of Charlotte Flair right now. She's like nipple baby, and now she's less unbearable because she's in the women's tag team scene. If she was in world title scene again, I think she'd be unbearable. I mean, she didn't deserve that face turn because she wasn't face. She wasn't being a good baby face. She was just an entitled. She was an entitled princess, basically. That's Charlotte Flair number eight. Number seven, Stone Cold Steve Austin after Survivor Series 2001. Why is it the worst babyface turn? Okay, he turned against WWE after a near face turn in July. He formed and joined the alliance. He won the alliance. He did everything in his power for the WWE to die, for the alliance to win. And at Survivor Series 2001, it was Rock and Austin, and it's Kurt Angle who ended up making the WWE win. That's the only time that Vince McMahon was the face and Austin was the heel, by the way, between their feud between the two. And Vince and Angle were the face. You think Angle turned face, but the next day, Angle, proud speak, says he's single-handedly helped WWE win. Vince, being Vince, let his ego go run wild. And you think, okay, but Austin is not a face because back at the end of the show, assaults Austin, assaults Angle and Vince, and all of a sudden, without apology, without mentioning anything, he's back as a face. He doesn't apologize for anything he did for trying to put the WWE out of business. No, he's back as a baby face. Like I get it that sometimes those things can happen. Basically, a baby face can be beloved despite what you do, but in this case, there should have been an explanation. Good grief. Number six, Bam Bam Bigelow after WrestleMania 11. Bam Bam lost the World Tag Title match against 1-2-3 Kid and Bob Ali at the Royal Rumble because of Tatanka. He loses fair and square to Lawrence Taylor in the main event of WrestleMania 11, and lose fair and square to Diesel in the match on Raw. And then the $1 million corporation have had enough of him, fires him from their group. Then he says, "You don't fire me, I quit." Which I always thought was stupid as an excuse back then. It's even more of it now. It doesn't make you look good. It makes you look petty. Gets assaulted, and it's like that's the first time you see him as a babyface since 1987 or 1988, and it has potential. Bam Bam Bigelow is a babyface has potential, but they do nothing with it. I think he doesn't get any big wins out of that. I think the biggest win he won as a babyface, yeah, he won the King of the Ring tag match with Tatanka and Sid, but who got the cover? Diesel. And he won against Andrew Godwin at a one in your house. I'm not sure if it's second one or third one, but even then, I think was a big man like this. He won because he did a sunset flip on Henry Godwin. Think about that. Imagine if Omos won against Seth Rollins via a sunset flip. It's like Even if it's not the fact that you can do it, it's the fact that maybe you shouldn't, as Dr. Ian Malcolm would say. Get that reference. But that was ridiculous there. And it's like after this, he lose to Sid convincingly, he lose to Goldust, and you're not seeing him again. Anyway, that's war number six. I mean, prelude to number five. You need to have powerful and important wins as a babyface for a babyface turn to be effective. Number five, The Miz in 2012. Miz was the Intercontinental Champion. He lost the title to Kofi Kingston. I don't know why he shakes his hand. He shake Kofi's hand. It's like it seems insincere at first, but not. He's not. He's being more face-ish. Then he wants to join Team Punk or Team Ziggler for Survivor Series. And at first seems to be there, but when he tries to jump in the ring, no teammate helps him and gets attacked by Team Ryback. Well, was supposed to be Team Ryback's at first. So Miz quits Eamon's team and demands to Mick Foley to be on Orton's team. And there was basically, I think it was like a poll, an online poll, which was going to be between Miz, Zack Ryder, or Santino Marella. So Miz won, and that's why he turned face. And the whole question between the Survivor Series 2012 elimination matches, can the face trust Miz? And Miz was before the last one being eliminated. He proved his worth by eliminating the then Intercontinental Champion, or the then soon-to-be Intercontinental Champion, sorry, Wade Barrett. And, okay, he seems to be face-ish. And then afterwards, he goes with he faces up against Claudio Castagnoli for the U.S. title, and he officially turns face by saying, I'm an American. That's it. Always play up that card if basically all things go wrong, it seems like, in wrestling. He goes to face Cesaro in the pre-show of the Royal Rumble 2003. He loses. He doesn't get any comeback. He doesn't eliminate Cesaro from the Rumble. No, Cesaro's already eliminated from the Rumble by then. Ryback is basically, I think, eliminates Miz. Miz is eliminated the second. I think might be the second person he eliminates from the Rumble. So Miz didn't look good in that Rumble, even as a face. In an elimination chamber in 2013, he has a rematch with Cesaro, but gets DQ'd. Then at WrestleMania 29, he's not even on the main card. He faced Wade Barrett. But since Miz had an undefeated streak at WrestleMania by then, Miz actually used the figure four out of nowhere this time to win the IC title and keep his then WrestleMania streak intact at the He wins the Intercontinental title just to lose the next day. And after this, there's nothing of note. It's a face before turning heel. That's the thing with Miz as a face. I always thought that really ridiculous. It's like with Owen as a face. You want him to be effective as a face, to give him effective wins as a face. Miz in 2019 the crowd was even more ready to cheer for Miz, but they, for some stupid reason, did not want to ever have him win once against Shane McMahon. WrestleMania 35 was a perfect opportunity, and Shane McMahon is not a wrestler. Why did he lose to Miz? And then you wonder why it doesn't work. Well, Miz lost to Shane McMahon at every turn. Just like Owen lost to Triple H at every turn. Of course they're not going to win. They're not going to be... It's not going to work as a babyface turn if they keep losing. So yeah, that's number five. Number four, Eric Escobar in 2009. That makes me laugh because it's like a little stupid face turn. Like Eric Escobar was a charisma vacuum, and that's put it mildly. And his babyface turn was insulting Vicky Guerrero and calling him all sort of names. He did nothing as a face, just insulted him. And Vicky got enough of it and just had him like face off against monster eels, and he lost. And then he left WB. As hilarious as it sounds. That's number four. Number three, Kane in 2004. So Kane in 2004, Kane in 2003 was an awesome heel. He was a maniacal heel. It's like since losing his match, he was not losing matches. Then he lost against The Undertaker. Then he tries to rehabilitate himself. He faces off against Chris Benoit. You think he's going to win the world title? No. He gets pinned at the pay-per-view Vengeance 2004. Then he faced off against Chris Benoit again, and surprisingly, Kane taps out. Then targets Matt Hardy and Lita. Kane lose to Matt Hardy at no, he lost at Vengeance. Sorry, he lost the title. He lost against Chris Benoit at Bad Blood 2004. He won. He lost against Matt Hardy in a normal match at Vengeance 2004, but he wins in a lover leaver match against SummerSlam 2004 and gets to marry Lita. And after this, Lita basically begrudgingly accompanies Kane. And we learn that Lita's pregnant. Lita is unhappy. Snitsky arrive on the scene and make sure it attacks Kane with a steel chair across Kane's back. And he falls on top of Lita and leads to a miscarriage. And the next time we see Kane, Kane's a babyface? Can you explain that to me? Why is he babyface? Holy crap, man. Talk about stupid face turns. That's one of them in a nutshell. Number two, Alberto Del Rio. Alberto Del Rio was a heel for basically since 2010 and 2012. TLC 2012, Ricardo Rodriguez is assaulted by three-man band, 3MB, leading to Miz, Alberto Del Rio, and the Brooklyn Brawler to make the save. You couldn't ask for a more random trio to do this. But then you say, okay, maybe they tried another direction on Alberto Del Rio, but out of nowhere, on a Christmas episode of Raw, Mick Foley's dressed as Santa Claus, and for no reason, Alberto Del Rio, by mistake, runs over Santa. And the whole episode is Ricardo crying, all of this, Alberto Del Rio being a newfound face, being appalled by what happened, and basically, like, he doesn't want to be the guy who hurt or erased Santa, and it's like, you sabotage a face turn from the get-go. Granted, it's Alberto Del Rio. Who cares about him? But still, if you try to make him as a face, it's like, newsflash, you failed. I mean, oh god, that Christmas episode is wrestle crap in a row. It's wrestle crap in a nutshell. So watch it if you have time, because I don't want to waste any more of your time. But number one is Ken Patera in 1987. Why Ken Patera? Why precisely makes a world, to me, the worst babyface turn of all time? Because he blames his own misdeeds on a manager. Even if the manager's hated like Bobby Heenan, he blames Bobby Heenan for going to jail and not visiting him. Last I checked, Ken Patera went to jail for his own actions. Even his characters, I couldn't possibly believe that's Bobby Heenan's fault why he went to jail. Then he complains they didn't visit him. Well, it's natural. I mean, people don't want to associate themselves with people who do criminal acts. And he criticized Bobby Heenan for that. For what? Like, Ken Patera went to jail for his own actions. He says he wants to rid the WWE of the Bobby Heenan types, such as yourself, which is one of the biggest fail in a promo ever. And yeah, it's like the whole promo is hilarious. The whole background toward it's like, let's make a babyface or a babyface, but always does it make sense as Bobby Heenan can be slimy, disgusting. It's like he had no part of Ken Patera being arrested. It's not like basically he did the misdeeds and Ken Patera got arrested for it. No, Ken Patera got arrested for his dumb, stupid behavior by throwing a rock in a McDonald's. Bobby Heenan was nowhere to be found there. Bobby Heenan did not tell him to do this. And Ken Patera's character, despite the fact that this was still basically national news, still tries to blame it on Bobby Heenan. And you wonder why I tepid babyface reactions. Because people couldn't believe it. The only time I had good reactions to babyface is because he associated with Hulk Hogan. Anyway, those are my top 16 best face turns and my top 10 worst face turns. Let me know what you think and visit the links down below. Go visit the Soul Monster and go visit Chris Lucky, please. Have a nice day. Bye.